Thank you for tuning in to the Black Money Tree Podcast, hosted by entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist Jerome D. Love. We are committed to teaching you how to build wealth so that you can build your community. At the Black Money Tree, our goal is to empower wealth creation and create economic self-sufficiency in order to empower generations to come. Society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never enjoy. Powered by Wells Fargo Bank. Welcome to the Black Money Tree Podcast.
Welcome to the Black Money Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Jerome D. Love, and I'm excited to have you here today. We're going to have another exciting episode with a gentleman who's doing some amazing things. He's going to talk to us about entrepreneurship, digital marketing, and media. If you're going to build a business in 2023, you have to have a presence online. And this is the guy that's doing some big things. But before we go there, I always got to give it up for Texas Black Expo. 20 years of service to the community. We're celebrating in a big way, May 18th to the 21st in Houston, Texas, with NBA legend Magic Johnson. If you want to get your tickets, go to texasblackexpo.com. If you want to be a vendor, go to book.texasblackexpo.com/callback, and someone from our team will follow up with you. And of course, if you've never been a vendor at a trade show, I'm telling you, you are missing out. When I started my business, it was a clothing line. And then when I wrote my book, trade show marketing has been a staple of my business. There is no other platform where you can pay less than $1,000 in most cases. Black Expo, a small business booth, is $695. You have your own store for 2 days and access to over 10,000 people. You get direct consumer feedback. You can make direct sales. You can build your database. It is an unparalleled marketing opportunity that most people overlook. I was lucky I got in on it early. I started my first vending experience when I was 20 years old. So if you want to learn about the pros and cons of becoming a vendor at a trade show, we do have a free course called Winning with Vending. You can get it at book.texasblackexpo.com/I want it. So the Black Money Tree movement is a movement that we are launching, have launched, if you will, to help to build wealth within our communities. Because if we're going to build strong, sustainable communities, it's going to be because we have the resources to do so. So there's a lot of ways to make money. Most of what our focus is on real estate and entrepreneurship. Today, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. And to help facilitate our conversation, we have promoter extraordinaire, digital marketing guru, all around dope businessman, good friend of mine from Dallas, Texas, Mr. Dessie Brown. I forgot your LDH Media, is it? Or say your company name.
Yeah, LD Unlimited.
Okay, got it. LD Unlimited. So, well, welcome to the Black Money Tree Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for allowing me the time to be on your show, man. I really appreciate the kind words and appreciate the friendship over the years and the game. We share back and forth with each other as well. So
yes, sir.
And
yes,
then
sir.
Then I also want to say that, you really sold those vendor booths right there. I don't know what I would sell, but, you're making me want to get a vendor booth at the Texas Black Expo since it's the 20th year. Like I just want to go ahead and put mine in now and I'll go sell later on.
Yeah. No, we got you. I got you, man. So let's talk about it. Growing up, how were you groomed? Were you groomed as an entrepreneur? My parents told me get an education, get a job, so that was kind of what I thought. And I fell into entrepreneurship. How were you raised? And what did your parents teach you about entrepreneurship and wealth building and things of that nature?
Well, I'm originally from Greenville, Texas, so it's about an hour east of Dallas. So, I grew up, in sports, playing football. My parents were really active in the community. My dad was on the school board, later on, and then also became a pastor as well. He was always a deacon and singing. And then my mom was a director at a Boys and Girls Club. So just over the course, they didn't necessarily, I wouldn't say entrepreneur thing, but it was more about education, more about working. But what I learned the most from them is always keeping a good name. I'm a junior, so being the son of Dessie Senior, he knew a lot of people. My mom knew a lot of people, so it was real important that I always kept a good name, regardless of what I was doing.
No, I think that's kind of sort of where I wanted to go. You have built your name and your brand in the Dallas region. You can't go anywhere and say Dessie Brown and they, oh, I know him. That's my guy, And you have your hands in so much. I mean, when I first met you, I think you had just stopped working with Tom Joyner and you were promoting at Park Ave and you were
Yeah,
doing all kinds of other things. You have some pretty notable clients such as Marsai Martin from
okay.
Blackish and all kinds of celebrities. How do you tap into that business in that industry specifically when, and I think I told you this when I first met you. I was like, man, I need someone like you in Houston. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a promoter I've worked with, a guy out in Indianapolis. He's booked
yeah,
most of my shows that I've done here in Houston, and I haven't
yeah,
been able to really just find that solid go-to guy in Houston that has the skill set, but that name, that ID, not the janky promoter, if you will, as the movie,
yeah.
So talk a little bit about your name, your brand, your reputation, and how you use that to build your business.
Yeah, so a lot of times I've always been about identifying opportunities. So, even going back early on in school, growing up, I was always in talented and gifted classes, AP classes in high school, and things like that. But, I think in the Bible it says you're supposed to have a great name than riches. And I always felt like if I kept a good name, the money would always come. So my God given gift is to be a connector. So I had the ability to connect with people very, very fast. And so I typically can, I'm one of those people that they say, I don't meet a stranger. So everyone that I meet, I have something in common with them. And then I try to, not saying take advantage of that, but just try to figure out what commonalities are, and then try to proceed forward. And then business there, then there's business there. Um, being able to tap in with celebrities and different things. If you provide people, then people are more likely to have you around and more likely to do business with. If it's no value there, then it's kind of no reason for you to be around, so to speak.
Well, no, I think that's critically important what you said, and we had this conversation 2 days ago. I said, man, Jesse, I like doing business with you because at the end of the day, you helping me make money. So I have no problem giving you money when you helping me make money. Now,
Yeah,
some people may say, well, all you did is make a phone call, or all you did is connect to this person or that person, and I'm gonna give you this amount of money. But there's value in that. First off, for you to be able to make the phone call, you had to have the number. In order for you to get the number, you had to have built up something that made them trust you to give you the number. And you had to have done something that made them answer the phone when you call because they know you ain't calling them about no bull. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole process that goes into you having the contacts that you have and people wanting to do business with you. So, and I think that's critically important because so many times, and I told you this on the phone too, I've talked to so many people and they say, well, you have to pay me for my time. And I tell them, I'm not paying you for your time. I'm paying you for a result. If you can bring value to me, I'm going to pay you for that. So
absolutely.
now we've kind of talked a little bit about your business in general. Tell the people exactly what you do if you can really just put it in a couple sentences or a paragraph. Tell the people what you do.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I say I'm a connector. So whether that be, marketing and consulting is where I it's kind of my sweet spot. But a lot of interests. I look up to, entrepreneurs, you know, like Clarence Avant, the Black Godfather. That's somebody that I really look up to. I look up to a Dame Dash, a Diddy, a Jay Z, Richard Branson, just people that kind of do it their way. But at the end of the day, they have multiple interests. Like I don't feel like I fit in one category. I feel like I I'm successful across different industries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about, we talked about this as well. Social media, image, perception, branding. Talk about
Yeah,
how important that is for an individual. And I guess it kind of goes back to the name because your name is your brand. But with social
absolutely.
media, you can leverage that medium to spread your name, your brand to the masses. Talk a little bit
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. Yeah, so I pride myself on being an early adopter. So, even going back to college, whether it was Black Planet or MySpace or shout out to Dallas Peeps or, any of those platforms like that, even Facebook very early on. Like I always understood technology and, like even when I was younger doing music or throwing parties, what the internet would do for you. So if I threw a party, then we're going to have a photographer there. So Facebook, very, very early on, I knew that if I was even as a promoter, if I was a person to put those online, then everyone that was in the photos on my page and see who I was, even if they didn't know me. So, so I would manipulate like that, or I would have other people like, if you were in a photo on Facebook with somebody else, I may not know who you were in the photo with. You tagged them, and I would kind of check it out and say, "Oh, okay, now I know this person." And I'm going
Yeah.
like look things up and even utilizing social media now. Like it's good to have a web, but the day of everyone having a website and checking your website kind of over, in my opinion. Thing that people do now is they kind of look you up on social media, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, or whatever the case may be. That's kind of how they're researching you, and that's how you're looking people up. A lot of people will argue that and say, "Hey, I don't like it on Instagram because there's an algorithm and people are holding, Facebook or Instagram. The algorithm is holding the exposure down." I use it more now as a documentation of what I'm doing. So, um, for instance, in a case like yourself, if you don't tell people the founder of Texas Black Expo, a lot of people may know it, and they may not ever research it. A lot of times, I have to personally be careful about the places that I go because of name. So, if I'm just in the building, sometimes people will see me and assume that it's my event just because they may not necessarily know who's throwing the event. So I have to keep that in mind. I tell a lot of people, if you don't tell your story, then who will?
Yeah, yeah. Now that brings up two questions and a comment, but I found that too. And people, I go in a room and I think I'm meeting people, but they already know who I am, you know, and it's kind of scary to a certain extent because you think you're meeting a person with it's a authentic connection and or whatnot, and we're gonna do this, but then you kind of understand, you feel like you've been targeted to a certain extent, so how do you mitigate that, if you will? Because sometimes, you kind of feel like, man, this is kind of scary. These people already know who I am and what I'm doing. How do you mitigate that?
You see, when you walk in your purpose, you expect that. So, and I have conversations with some of my friends that are starting to be a little more successful in business. So they're kind of at that point where they expect to be recognized and things like that. I've always been this way. So honestly, I'm more surprised when I go somewhere and nobody does recognize me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I got you. I got you, man. I got you, but I guess it got us to take some getting used to. Because it's weird for me too. I'm I would say I'm more recognized in
Yeah.
somewhat of a reverential fashion outside of Houston than I am in Houston. And I guess that's because people in Houston see me all the time. But when I go to
Yeah.
Dallas, so I'm going through an airport, people will be like, Jerome Love, I read your book. You know, my daughter
Yeah.
sent me a little meme on from TikTok that said, if I had a nickel for every time somebody says they know my dad. Now my daughter's in Washington D.C. at Howard University, you know,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, wow, people know me there. But then I have to
Yeah.
say, I've had a book out for over 10 years. I've spoken at colleges and
Yeah.
universities across the country. I've been on national media, you know. So, but I think that's a good thing you said. Now, the other thing you brought up for me was a website. I'm a little
Yeah.
old school, I guess. And I personally, the first thing I want to do is if
Yeah.
I want to know about Dessie Brown, I want to go to DessieBrown.com and I'm scrolling to the contact information. And if you got a
Yeah.
little form where I got to put in my name and you're going to get back to me, or a Calendly link, I'm like, I don't want to, unless you just really got something I want, I'm kind of like, I ain't trying to do that. I'm looking for a phone number. Now,
Yeah.
I know that most people aren't like that no more, but I don't like going to the Instagram and the Facebook because in my mind, even though both are the same, you understand that social media is creating this image of what you want me to see. The website is the same thing. You're creating the colors, the image, the
Exactly.
smiling people. It's the same thing, but something about it to me isn't the same. But so talk about that. Do you feel like websites and the more I find the newer businesses, the people I'm trying to contact, they don't have websites. All they have is
Mhm.
Instagram and Facebook, and then you DMing them and wondering if they're gonna get the message. Talk about
Yeah.
that for a person like me trying to do business with someone. What would you say?
Yeah. Now, at most, I would say having a one page or two page website just to have a little bit of information. But you also have to understand that if you're trying to get in touch with major people, ain't gonna be no phone website. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can all the people that you knew, like, and the people that know you, like, yeah, you're more of an outgoing person, so you may not mind how someone got your phone number or your phone number, out of different things. But a lot of people are naturally private people, so they don't want their phone number out, or they rather you email them and then they figure out if they're going to give you the phone number or not. But going back to social media, you can use your website and social media together. And if I'm talking to a, a certain type of business, then I think you should do that as well. But also really big on email marketing as well. So I would client to only have social media or only have a website. I'm going to say make sure you're getting email well, because if not, like, from time to time, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, they may go down. And so if you had 1 million followers but didn't have one phone number address, then you're kind of, up shit creek, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what would you say is the biggest mistake and/or when you bring a client on and you start working with them on their branding and their imaging, what's the biggest mistake people make or the first thing that you tell them they need to start doing?
I say content. People are so afraid of now. It's really, really funny. Um, I often use a couple of examples. One is Russell, a new music artist out of Vallejo. He's kind of been blowing up the last year. I really like him. Even though he does music, he's really big on content. So he's kind of to the point to where he's saying, okay, most artists only want to release a song a week or a song a month or whatever the case may be. So he's saying if you release one song, you're only giving yourself 52 chances to win. But if you release a piece of content or a song every day, you're giving yourself 365 chances. And that really stuck with me. And then also what Gary Vee says, when you talk about creating content for social media, so many people are apprehensive. But what Gary Vee says it's better to simply document what you're already doing. So when you see me out a lot of times or posting things, I was already going, I'm already there. I got one or two pictures and then posted I was there. But I'm trying to craft and create a specific story, and I feel like people follow me because um, want a behind the scenes look at big business or celebrity or film or music. So I'm giving a peek behind the curtain. So that's why people me and that's what I kind of suggest when I'm talking to clients. Like, figure out where your niche is and create the content that kind of matches.
So let me give my personal thoughts on that, and then I'll give you an example, and you could kind of counsel me and or talk about the example. There was my use of social media kind of evolved. First, I
Yeah.
got on Facebook and I found a couple friends from sixth grade. And I was like, oh my goodness, this I haven't seen this person and da da da. So you was excited just to find old friends. Then it clicked, wow, I have a book. If I had 5,000 friends and I wanted to promote my book, all I had to do was post about my book and I probably could get a couple hundred sales. So then I just started adding everybody to social media. Then when I used to travel and do a lot more speaking, I would have people request me, but then a lot of people would send me messages talking about random stuff, asking me my opinion on stuff. And honestly, I'm doing something else. And if I don't know you, you know, I'm not responding. But I had to realize that from this day and age's perspective, if I'm your Facebook friend, then we know each other, so that was considered rude. So, and I actually had a guy, it was a white guy out of Iowa who friend requested me, would always send me stuff, and I'm being kind. Thank you so much. I appreciate you getting the book. And he sent me a message once. It was a suicide message, saying that his life was going bad and his girlfriend left him and this, that, and the other. And I didn't really know quite what to do. And I talked to one of my line brothers. I was just like, man, I'm praying for you, get some help, whatever, whatever. And what my line brothers told me is kind of what you said. He said, Jerome, you have to realize you are a public figure. And when you invite people to your space and you allow them to be friends on Facebook, then that is you saying, I want to have a relationship. So it is rude if you don't then interact with them. So I then kind of just like, if you've requested me on Facebook or really any site in the last 2 years, you probably didn't get a response, because if I don't know you directly, I'm probably not going to accept you. And that's just because I kind of went the gamut. There was one point where I would just post every now and again. And then there was a point where I literally came up with a 365-day calendar with photos, with slogans and, motivational pieces that I did every single day from 2014 to 2016. Then I kind of just back all together. And then now you just see pictures of me and my kids every now and again, and my son playing basketball, and my daughter running track. I don't really post a whole lot. Now, so that's my story, and I'm trying to kind of figure out the balance. The story I want to say, or example, Dion. God, I mean, every time I flip on my TikTok or YouTube, it's another Dion video. Him in the cafeteria, him talking with his daughters, him walking on the field, his sons having snowball fights. I know Shiloh, I know Shador, I know Shalom. I know all of his folk. But so to me, I'm kind of like, that's almost overkill. But at the end of the day, I'm a dude that's 46 in Texas that knows exactly what he's doing. And so there's value in that. So I'm kind of saying two things. So where would you say, how do you not get that caught up in it too? And what's the proper mix of real life versus social media?
So I like to say whatever you're comfortable with, because you want to be genuine. Dion is comfortable in the camera, and his kids are comfortable in front of the camera. So obviously, you're going to see them on a lot more. Whereas Tracy may not be on there quite as much, even though she's a public figure as well. But I always say do what's comfortable, because what happens is you don't want to be on there forced. If you're more
Yeah.
of a private person, but you're turning on your camera every day, trying to make up things to talk about or trying to create, then you're probably going to struggle quite a bit more. Whereas Dion is doing like, I don't know if you saw the Amazon Prime, Jackson State, like they had a reality show on Amazon Prime for his time there. So he's doing different deals. And at the end of the day, like, for instance, like me, you have a personal relationship with me, so you really know me, and we have like conversations. As a lot of people that may say that you may run into that say they know me, they may not really know me for real.
Yeah.
They may
Yeah.
just have, they may just dap me up when they walk past and say what's up and kind of keep it. So there's a way that you can live a public life, but people really don't know you like that. Like and a great example of like Deion Sanders, you see a lot of content on Dion, but when you saw Dion sit down with Shannon Sharp, you probably heard a lot more things that about Dion and he's actually put out there. And just like you have an outgoing personality, but like, so people will probably say they know you, but they really don't know anything about you or
Yeah.
how you interact with your kids and your wife, different things like that. It's just like they surface level Jerome Love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what I found is though too, it's kind of like somebody told me before, you know, I know Denzel Washington, but he don't know me. Why do I know him? Because he's a public figure. You can turn on the movies, you see him, this, that, and the other. So once again, I'm on the TV, I'm on media, I've been on national stuff, so people see me on television, they see me on social media. I'm standing on stage at Black Expo in front of thousands of people. So people know me, but I don't necessarily know them. And then that kind of brings about another problem a lot of times because people will come up to me like we have a relationship. And I'm kind of like, I don't want to be rude and bust their bubble and be like, who are you? So it's
Yeah,
always a challenge.
it's but it's a way that you do that as well.
Yeah,
So if you're, because I know a lot of people that are like that now. Somebody walk up to them, they go back and look at them crazy, like, "Hey, do I
yeah,
know you?" And
yeah,
it's a way that you can dap somebody up or greet somebody, even if you don't quite know them. And
yeah,
hey, now give me your name again, or like it's ways that you do
yeah,
it where people like, because and then I've gotten to a point to where sometimes now people will come up to me and they'll say, I don't remember me, but yada yada. And I bad with names, but I remember most faces.
yeah, yeah,
So if you give me a sec, like, so I can kind of scan the room and I can greet somebody, even if I don't quite name, I may know their face and can say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know them."
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, in closing, let me just say this: in terms of staying up to date with all the new advancements in technology and social media, what are some of the places you go, articles you read, websites to kind of just know what the next trend is in terms of this digital and social marketing media phenomena that we're experiencing, if you will?
Yeah, I go to Inc. Definitely look at Inc. I look at Entrepreneur, and then I just search the platforms as well. Like, you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, they actually have accounts where you can kind of find the new updates that are coming. LinkedIn, I'm part of the LinkedIn creator community, and so I get updates from LinkedIn about what's coming up. I'm also of Forbes the Culture, and so I get information from them, different things that are coming up as well. So those are some ways that you can kind of stay up to date. And then I'm really big on research. I feel like if you're not a person that researches, then you know whatever particular industry you're in, then you're kind of behind anyway. We're in Texas. We're not in LA. We're not in Miami. We're not in Atlanta. We're not in New York. So, I'll spend a little extra time reading articles or looking at interviews or podcasts in those areas is kind of know what's going on because, I'm in entertainment. So I can't have an opportunity or be in a room with somebody and not know who the person is or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm doing the wrong thing if I'm not.
Yeah. So let me yield back to you for a minute. What's next? Where can we find you? I know you got so much coming. Give us your social media handles, any other events, programs, initiatives you got going on. Give us a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah. So my social media is and that's Dessie. I'm on. I use Instagram and LinkedIn probably the most, but I'm also on and Twitter as well. I manage talent, so currently I manage radio personality Lady J, radio personality Bebe, radio personality Cat Daddy. I also manage DJ She Real, and I manage R&B artist Keith Jacobs. Now, what's coming up for me? Uh, you were a part of Black Excellence Night with the Mavericks in Dallas. We also have Black Excellence Night in San Antonio on March the 4th with the Spurs. We have Black Excellence Night with the Phoenix on March 25th. And then March 26th, I'll be in Houston for a few days because I just booked DJ She Real to DJ the McDonald's All Americans. So they'll be there in Houston. Keith Jacobs is doing a tour right now with If It Don't Feel Like 90s R&B. So that's Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, and we're in talks with Cleveland, Vegas, Anaheim, So, and then I also work with Marseille Martin and her production company. And so right now I'm talking to companies like Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. And we recently dropped a collection in the metaverse with Marseille as well. So I'm really big in the metaverse also.
So, okay, we got to talk about that. So, where do you see this metaverse going? I mean, I get it, big picture, but I haven't really quite figured out how. I see with Black Expo, it's a way where people can actually experience the Black Expo in China and other places or whatever. But do you really see this as the next wave, or it's just kind of one of those things that's an alternative? Or what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to continue to grow. This is the very early stages of it. But when you have a company like Facebook change their name to Meta, they're going to put a lot of money into it. There's also an educational component of it. A good friend of mine, Danny Martin, out here in Dallas, he has a company called Exposure, and he partnered with Dallas ISD, Fort Worth ISD, Frisco ISD, and several others to put the education into the school districts.
Okay.
And he also wrote curriculum for SMU from a gaming standpoint. So you can go to SMU and take classes in gaming. So there are three components when it comes to the Web 3. One being virtual reality, like the Oculus, the headset that you're kind of talking about. So that's fully immersed. Then you have augmented reality. And most people say, okay, what's augmented reality? Well, if you ever saw playing Pokemon, or like my daughter will have her iPad. She's 6, but she'll hold up her iPad and it will be like if you're looking at the iPad, you see a dog on the bed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's augmented reality. And then the other is like the metaverse, which is almost like Sims. If you used to play a video game, Sims back in the day. So everyone will have a avatar, then it's about what you do with that avatar. So,
Yeah.
say for instance, if Marseille is off shooting a movie for 6 months, now her digital avatar can do promos. You know,
Yeah.
Nike has invested in it. Paris Hilton is really big in Web 3. Snoop Dogg is really big in Web 3, and you also have the NFT component as well. And sports are what going to drive NFTs more than likely.
You say sports?
Sports are going to drive NFTs, and the reason being, so have well, you went to the Right? So when's the last time you went to an event and had an actual physical ticket?
Yeah, yeah. I see why you're laughing
No.
now.
Yeah, but think about physical ticket. You haven't seen a physical ticket in
Yeah,
a long time, right?
yeah,
Everything is digital. Okay. If you had 2 tickets to the first Super Bowl ever, you can sell those because it's something that's tangible.
yeah,
So think about in the digital space. For the last 10 years, we've only had our tickets on the iPhone or whatever the case may be, but that's nothing you can tangibly sell. So with NFT, it's basically keeping a ledger of things that you own. So
yeah,
if you own tickets now or NFTs, then you can actually resell those, and a blockchain, a registry, if you will, of how many times being sold. So I own quite a few NFTs. So
yeah,
now I won't say that like you know like kind of like Bitcoin. Like don't put all your eggs in one basket, but just in case the NFT pop the way it needs to, the
yeah,
NFTs that I own, I have a LeBron, a Kevin Durant, I have a Steph Curry, uh, Tom Brady started a company called Autograph, which is valued at $1 billion right now. So in March, I'm going to Tampa to an autograph event with Tom Brady because I own several NFTs off through Autograph.
yeah,
And if you're familiar with the company Autograph, on the board of directors, you have the Golden State Warriors owner, you have like a CEO of Spotify, the owner of the Dodgers, the owner of Live Nation, all of these different things. And then on the other partners that associated with it would be Tiger Wayne Gretzky, Rob Gronkowski, the top of the top. So, needless to say, that company's probably not going to fail.
yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. Well, no, that's good information, Dessie. I really appreciate you joining us. I feel like we could have gone on another 30, 45 minutes. So you definitely
Yes,
going to
sir,
be
for sure.
back on season 3. And I really
Okay.
appreciate all the work you're doing. And we look forward to having you at the Texas Black Expo's 20-year celebration. And I look forward to seeing
Absolutely.
you in San Antonio for Black Excellence Night with the San Antonio Spurs as well. And to all of you out
Yes.
there that's tuning into the Black Money Tree podcast, if you haven't already, go to our website, theblackmoneytree.com, get a copy of the book, Closing the Wealth Gap. It's going to teach you everything that I know about real estate and investing and growing your wealth, and make sure you're present at the Texas Black Expo's 20-year celebration, May 19th through the 21st in Houston, Texas, with NBA legend Magic Johnson. If you want
Okay.
to grow a business, if you want to learn how to purchase a franchise, if you want to learn how to get financing for investment properties, we're going to have workshops, we're going to have seminars, we're going to have investors all at one place,
Yes.
one weekend, and we're going to have a bunch of fun. So we're going to throw a party, a couple parties. We got a professional networking event on Friday night. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And and I'm gonna be live at Texas Black Expo. I might even co-host the live version of Black Money Tree podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Black Expo. Thought about that, but uh,
Yes, sir. Yep, but we got some heavy hitters. Thanks to Dessie, we got Mr. Roland Parrish coming. If you don't know who Roland Parrish is, just Google him. Could in Roland Parrish, Dallas. He about 38 restaurants. I believe he's on the board of the Mavericks or the NBA, and he's very well connected. Sean Taylor, who was a former owner of the Houston Astros, who was also on the Black Money Tree podcast. He's going to conduct our masterclass on franchising and entrepreneurship through acquisition. Cynthia Marshall, who's the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, is going to be there as well. We got some heavy hitters. I mean, Magic Johnson, he's going to be there. So if you serious about building your money, building wealth, you need to be at Texas Black Expo May 18th through the 21st in Houston, Texas. So until next time, make sure you go to the website, texasblackexpo.com, and get all the information, sign up for our list. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to the Black Money Tree Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Black Money Tree podcast. Don't forget to like and share this video. And if you want more content like this, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you next time.